Hello, beautiful souls. I am Valeria Maritza at Healing Through You. I am an infinite being of light, and so are you. Today, I have a treat for you. This has been coming through the guys. I have been asked to do some of this. And so, this is the first treat, and it's so timely where I get to bring someone else into my podcast to share their story of miracles and happiness and finding themselves. So I'm so excited to bring you my guest here, and it's going to be Glenda. And she has a fabulous, fabulous story to tell. And I'm going to let you know and let her in pretty soon so that we can talk to her. So, yeah, I'm really excited about this. Hope that you are really going to get a lot out of it. And I will bring her in now. Yay! Welcome, Glenda-Ray. How are you? I'm so happy to have you here as my first guest and Healing Through You.
Thank you so much. I am I am honored to be here. It's so special. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Guys, I want to tell you a little bit about how I met Glenda-Ray. Um, we met online through my business, and you know, one thing leads to the other. I think we both felt this feeling of like we're going to do something else, but we just didn't know what. We just had to wait for the right time. Um, but then something happened. Glenda-Ray had this great, amazing breakthrough that she shared with me, and I was like, I have to share this with the people. But what I wanted to show you was the timing, because I was doing a live, and she shows up, and then she sends me a message telling me, oh, I have this wonderful story to tell you. And I'm like, yes, tell me more. And so then after my live, she started telling me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we need to share this. I think this was like Thursday. And then it came through, the download came through like, this is a story that, you would both really benefit from sharing to the masses, to whomever's watching, because they can get so much from it. And so I offered the opportunity to come into my podcast as the first guest, so I've never done this before. And she agreed. And then I had a session today with a client, and that session canceled. And I was like, oh my gosh, it canceled. And this was like Sunday. And I was like, let me write to Glenda-Ray, see if she's available. She was. And here we are. And so I'm sharing this story because I want to really enforce how the universe works for us with speed, right? So when something's happening and you get that thought, you get that idea, and then you're like, yes, and you're getting excited, you're feeling good. You're not feeling like, oh, I don't know, I have to think about it. You're feeling like, yes, amazing, right? And then you act upon it, then the universe gives you the opportunity for everything to unfold. Like I had a session today. I would not be doing this with Glenda right now if that person hadn't rescheduled. That was the universe. That wasn't me, right? And so everything's working so beautifully. And that's what I wanted to tell you guys before Glenda-Ray goes on with her story. Don't you agree?
Oh yes. It to me that's alignment. That's the universe saying it's just bringing it to you, and the space opened up because this is what's coming next. This is what's aligned. This is what you're ready for, and the world's ready for. So yes, I love
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. And I had to figure it out. Like I was like, I don't know how to do this yet. So here we are recording on a Zoom, which I will then upload to my YouTube channel and my podcast. And so yeah, we're kind of like winging it. But not really, because we really both have all of our guides here
Mhm.
with us and guiding us. So amazing. I hope that you enjoy this story. I'm gonna start with a question about how was your life before you became aware of what your abilities were.
How was my life like? I lived very sheltered in a very um, like behind four walls and afraid to venture out, and didn't really say boo, didn't say much to anybody. And yeah, very, very sheltered, you might say. And there came a time where I couldn't do that anymore. And it wasn't in my head that I couldn't. It was just like this energy of expression that longed to be expressed in many forms, through art, through sharing wisdom, through dance, through channeling as a medium, as an intuitive. And it's like it had its own force and energy, and it's like it had to come out because it couldn't stay in anymore.
Awesome. So what happened? How did you actually make that transition to like, okay, here I am in these four walls to like, all right, I'm just gonna speak or do something. Like what happened? Like how did that transition happen for you?
um I would say that um how I can relate that is this calling, this calling that that was propelling me way out of my comfort zone. So way out of my comfort zone, it terrified me. And I kept seeing planes wherever I went. And it's like, yeah, I know I'm flying somewhere. I know. And it was like, it didn't feel like I was going across the street or to the next province. It felt like I was going far away, far, far away. And I could feel it. I could just feel it. And that is sort of the beginning of what I'm going to share with you all. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's amazing. Well, we can't wait to hear this beautiful story. I know that I had tears in my eyes because it is such a beautiful story. And yeah, go ahead and let us know. Dive right into it.
Okay, um so it began. It's a funny thing to say, it began, because there really is no beginning or ending, but it's like it began with this calling, this like almost like a gravitational magnetic pull. And um like I say, I kept seeing planes everywhere, and I knew I was going somewhere way far away out of my comfort zone. I didn't know where, had no idea where. And I was doing a meditation on Facebook one day a few months ago, about September. And somebody popped on and was very intrigued by what I was sharing, was very touched by what I was sharing. And we made this instant connection, this instant resonance. And we started communicating, messaging each other each day. And um, that connection got deeper and stronger, and actually created, it was like a catalyst for transformation for both of us. We both went through deep transformation in that connection, which can often happen when two souls come together that resonate on some level, a soul level. And I knew, like, I don't want to say knew, because it wasn't in my mind. It was like, oh, I get it. I'm going to Chile, where he lived. And I had no idea what was to unfold. I didn't even know, you know, the true depth of our connection. I didn't know. I mean, I was just speaking to this person, but I didn't meet him physically yet. But I knew I had to go. And it didn't matter what unfolded. It was like it was in the universe's hands, and it felt like destiny. It felt like it was far beyond me, even in my own experience. It was something that my soul created in some way as part of my destiny path. That's how powerful it felt. It was so beyond any thinking of my mind thinking, yeah, I want to go because I'm drawn to him. No, it was so beyond that. And everything I did to plan it just fell into place so with such ease and grace.
That's
And so
I'm sorry,
yeah,
that's exactly what's happened to us here. And
yeah,
I just wanted to say, like, that feeling that you had, you said it was like a knowing, but I don't want to call it a knowing. So what my guys are saying is like that's your remembrance, is your remembrance of like, aha, I remember this soul, and there's something that has to happen, that I need to go there and meet them. And so it comes within your energetic bodies. That's why you're like feeling like, oh, it's not in my head, I'm not thinking. But I can definitely relate to those feelings. They don't happen that often, but when they do, it's amazing.
yes. And as you speak, I have shivers all over my body.
Ah, awesome.
Of that truth, yes. So um it it was like it took a force energy of its own. Honestly, it's like it just came together so easily, getting the suitcase and the plane ticket, and at the same time though, it scared the living daylights out of me. It's like, am I crazy? Am I absolutely crazy? I didn't allow myself to go there though. It was just like, this isn't even about how you feel about it. It's like, this is beyond, it's beyond your own personal feeling and experience. You're going. It's done. Done.
Amazing.
And so I went. And I've only been on a plane a few times in my life. Never, ever, ever anywhere near that far. And looking out the window even scared me at the plane. It's just like the different landscapes that you could see, and the mountains and the clouds and the water. And it's just like, where am I going? I must be crazy. It's like, it was so far. And it felt like this quantum leap, like a quantum leap out of my comfort zone. So far out of my comfort zone, I don't even have words to explain. And when I landed on that ground in that airport and got out, I I was just beside myself. It's like, couldn't speak a word of Spanish. The only the only connection I had was to this soul I met. And what if my phone doesn't work and I can't reach him? I was terrified. And it was like this vast open spaces that I had never experienced because I lived behind four walls all my life. There's like so much room, so much space, so much expansion. It just freaked me out. I
Wow.
just, it was just incredible. And um, I thought, am I ever going to be able to ground and feel stable in my body? You know? And I I had so many experiences where I was terrified. Like, he would take me up. He's a nature lover, and he loves to journey up mountains. And he would take me up these mountains to see the beautiful view from above. And I'm like, I can't go any farther. My legs and my knees, they hurt. I can't take another step. He goes, come on, you can do it. You can do it. Let's go. And it was like my mind wanted to say no. My heart was like, I cannot not go back. I can't go back. Even if I wanted to go back, I could not walk back to the bottom of that hill or mountain.
Amazing.
I couldn't go because that was the old me living behind the four little walls. I couldn't do it, even though everything ached in my body. It's like I just kept going and going and going and going. And oh my God, I just cried when I got to the top.
Oh my
Should have,
goodness.
you should have seen the view. It was just stunning, stunning, with these beautiful mountain peaks enveloped around us, and the stars. It was like night, and the shadows of the mountains against the sun, like the recently sunset. It was just breathtaking. And it was like a symbol, a metaphor of what I felt locked inside of me. It so wanted to express itself. And it was expressed and experienced through the reflection of that landscape. And it touched me beyond words I could ever explain. I was so moved and just so alive. I felt so alive because even though my body hurt, I just felt more alive than I ever have in my life.
That's
And
incredible. I'm sorry. I was just thinking if there's anyone here watching in the now, which is, whomever's watching is now. If you ever had an experience like that, because as you're speaking, I was brought back to my experience like that when many years back, I took a leap of faith, just like you, where I sold everything I owned and I just went and moved to Italy. And I didn't know anyone except for one person, just like you, who was like a friend. And I remember flying all by myself. I had never flown, all the way to Italy, a different continent, all by myself. And I remember I was like all in like, this is the mode, right? Like, okay, take this plane, take this train, take this, that. And then I got to the hotel and I remember sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, what did I do? I'm here all by myself. And like that terror of like, what am I doing here? That craziness. And that's exactly what you were describing when you landed on that plane. Like, what am I doing here? And that fear. But we did it anyway, right?
yes, yes,
That's the part
yeah,
that stops so many people from jumping because it is scary. It's not
yeah,
easy.
yes. And I think the difference is that I was ready. I was ready to just face that fear and move through the fear to receive the jewels, the gifts that awaited me. I was ready. I was so
Amazing.
I was so ready, and the universe just kept showing me how ready I was, And it, like I say, it was beyond anything in my mind and thinking I was ready. It was this feeling, this energy. It was just propelling me to leap.
Yeah.
It was like akin to climbing a mountain and literally jumping off a mountain. That's
Yeah.
how 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 freeing it felt, and at the same time terrifying. you know
Yeah, there's
and
this card on my deck that when I pull cards that says leap, the universe will catch you. And it's exactly that. It's like, all right, here I am, I'm jumping, but it's so scary because you have no idea where it's going to be. You just have to trust that you will be caught.
yes, it is not easy.
No.
It is not easy,
But so worth it, right?
but so worth it. And um and our connection, with my connection and his connection to me was beyond anything I have ever experienced in my whole life.
Tell us more about that.
I have never, ever in my life felt so incredibly received, loved, accepted for exactly as I am. Never. It was so powerful and intense. It was, I cried rivers of tears, oceans of tears. And, you know, we'd go to the ocean and I'd just sit there and cry. And I didn't even know why I was crying. But as I reflect now on this incredible integration, which I'm been going through, which is another thing I'd like to share later, is that I feel like what was happening is that I was expressing what was inside of me that had been locked in my cells, in my memory, in my entire being, all my life. It was just like all those emotions that I never expressed, all those words I never expressed, just came flooding out of me like a river, like an ocean. And to be so completely loved and accepted would made me cry so much too, because it's like, is this real? Are you real? And it's just it's so intense because when you've never experienced that before, it's just like, are you a dream? And then I realized that I created him because I had put out to my universe for several years that I was inviting this soul, this being that loved me unconditionally, that was passionate, and that we had a connection that went beyond the relationship itself to be of service to the planet.
Mm.
And we're both very, very spiritual and very gifted with spiritual gifts and talents. And we care so much about Mother Earth. And for this person, this soul to not only see me, hear me, acknowledge me, and love me unconditionally, and to have that spiritual connection about going beyond the relationship to how can we be of service, was just unbelievable. But that's what I had been putting out to my universe. And I feel like that's why it was 15 years that I waited. It's like, are you ever going to show up? Where are you, man? Where are you? You know, because
Wow.
I had to be ready. He had to be ready. Otherwise, we wouldn't have come together. It wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
He
And the
had to
key
be.
thing here that I'm feeling is that you didn't give up. You just kept doing it. You just kept putting out there. You just kept looking for it. You just kept asking for it. Because so many of us ask and they're like, okay, this is what I want, whatever it is. And then we limit ourselves by putting a timeline or how it should happen, such as the person needs to be this tall or this color and with this hair.
Yes,
All right.
yes,
And we limit ourselves. And then it's like, oh, there's the person. Yeah, but you don't match what I want. Therefore, goodbye. We don't even look at them, right? But you are just open to whatever it is that the universe was bringing you for your highest good. And you didn't give up. And that's right there. That is such a great lesson. So many, I work with a lot of people and they're like, this is not working. It's like, you've been working on it for 3 weeks. Right? Because we give up because we
yes.
limit ourselves by saying, I want it now. And if this is real, then I can have it now if I want to. Yes, you can. Everyone can. But like what you just said, you needed to be ready and he needed to be ready so that you will both meet at the right time. Perfect. I love it.
And I feel that's why there was several months from September to December, no, late November, that we finally met physically, because even in the connection through the messaging and the video chats and things, we were transforming. So we were being prepared to meet each other physically, even though, you know, we didn't necessarily think that that was going to happen. It just happened.
Yeah,
Through,
yeah.
you know, so it's like, again, we were being prepared to meet each other. Um, uh, what was I going to say? And another thing I noticed is that it wasn't only him that saw me and saw my my truth, my you know, who I am authentically, and accepted me and loved me. Other people did too, like his best friend, for example. And so it was like my universe wanted to show me that this is a reflection. The only way that anybody can truly show unconditional love to you and accept you for exactly as you are is for you to give that to yourself.
Yes.
Yes. And so my universe wanted to show me that how you have grown so much and accepted yourself so deeply that now you attract the same.
Beautifully said. Oh, I love that story. So
And
tell me a little bit more about you touched on your expansion and your connection on all of that stuff and people being able to see both of your growth and expansion. So what happened next?
well, so even to take it to another level of the self acceptance and self love reflected, I went to Chile, and I used to wear a wig because I don't have any hair. It fell out many years ago. And when I was in Chile, I wore it for 2 days. And I was sitting I was sitting in my apartment with my beloved, and I just took it off and said, I can't wear this anymore. It isn't me. And it went in my suitcase, and I never took it out again. I couldn't wear it even if I wanted to. And
Wow.
when I never ever felt such freedom in my whole life when I took that off my head and never put it back on. It's like not only could my head could breathe, it was like removing the mask. It's like, here I am. This is me. This is in my raw vulnerability. This is me. And I love me exactly as I am. And
Wow. So powerful.
and to have him there to witness that, and to for him to see me exactly as I am in that moment, exactly the same way as he did in the previous moment. There was no change, there was no shock, there was no nothing. It was just like, it was just so incredibly beautiful.
Oh, I have no words. I'm like, just listen to this again. I mean, I heard this before, but I'm like, again, I'm like so emotional. This is such a powerful message of what loving yourself can do in your life to change you, because we're so focused on what people will think about us or what they will say about us, and instead of thinking about like, what do I say about me, how do I feel about me, and how can I love myself more just as I am, and allow others to see I love me, this is me, amazing, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you a question. This is coming up. How um how was this this trip and this encounter received by your friends and family before you left?
Nobody knew. I didn't tell anybody except for 4 soul brothers and sisters. 4 soul brothers and sisters knew. My birth family, nobody knew.
Amazing. And you know, that's so powerful too, because a lot of times it is the external people around us that keep us in that box, that give us even more fear from us taking that step. When I did the same thing when I went when it's with my spiritual awakening, I was doing all the work by myself. Like I didn't tell anyone. And it wasn't until I felt really grounded and really like, okay, I can't go back. This is who I am now, that I was able to speak it.
Yes.
But if I had said something before, it would have been like shut down so many times.
Yes. I chose that the only people that I was going to share it with would be those that would be just over the moon empowering.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get
And
to
then,
know this. You get to feel who these people are.
yes,
What
you
about
just,
him? What about his family and friends?
um, what do you mean more specifically?
Did he share with his family and friends what he was doing
Oh, what he was,
before
what
you
he was,
got there?
oh, um, I, I don't know actually if he did or not. Um, I don't know what he shared with others.
Mm-hmm.
I know at first, I felt like a little bit of uh a little bit of an enigma, like I didn't really exist when it was in respect to his family,
Mm-hmm.
because I think he was a little bit afraid of how he may be judged, um, which is um, his own relationship to that. It's not really about his parents, it's about his relationship to being judged. But
Yeah.
anyway, very, very shortly, it was very shortly after that changed, that transformed, and I truly was like, it was obvious that we were a couple, and he was totally okay in expressing that around his family. So that was really beautiful to witness, because
Amazing.
I think it was pretty intense and empower for him as much as it was for me, because
Yeah.
we have to integrate that, we have to integrate that. We can't just experience something incredibly intense and powerful and loving and accepting, and then just all of a sudden be okay with that. We got to integrate it, and
Yeah.
that can bring tears, that can bring, bring things up about self-worth. It can do all sorts of things. But when we are aware that that's what's happening, then we can feel it, allow it to be compassionate for ourselves in our process, which is, I think, the next thing I want to share with you. Is
Mm-hmm.
that when I never really felt completely ready to come, quote unquote, home, because home isn't where you live. Home is where your heart is.
Yeah.
However, my physical home is here in British Columbia. And my first, I had a plane ticket coming home at an earlier date, and I was not anywhere near ready to come home. So I canceled that. And I didn't know when I was coming home. I just said, show me, show me in my body, show me when is sort of when I am somewhat feeling stable, that I'm ready to go home, kind of thing. And um, so I can't tell you how incredibly painful that was coming home. That I have no words to express the tears. Again, the river, the oceans of tears. I thought, am I ever going to stop crying?
Oh my goodness.
And when I got home, I felt like I was in a foreign country, in a foreign body, in a foreign house, in a foreign land, all over again. It took me 10 plus days of crying, of integrating, of feeling what I felt, honoring what I felt, expressing what I felt in different ways through journaling, through I couldn't even get myself to like journaling was even challenging. It was challenging to get it out
Mm-hmm.
because it was so powerful. It was so intense. And um and then I reconnected with you and you did that reading, which was so incredibly bang on to what I was feeling. And it was asking me to fall into the arms of the Great Mother, to be embraced and loved and to feel that compassion for my experience. And that was just so bang on as to what I was going through and feeling. But to hear that in that message was just, it took that integration to another level, and I was able to move through it easier.
Oh,
And and connecting with my beloved every day and sharing with him how I felt. We both were going through an intense integration through being separated, even though we're not separated in a physical sense. We are.
mm-hmm.
And often that happens with powerful soul connections, is that at some point they separate, and it is painful, beyond painful, and at the same time it's needed. I feel it's needed. It's needed on many levels so that each can integrate their process. They can integrate the incredible experiences they've had and shared together, so they can recalibrate their energy field to become embodied in all of those lessons and all of the wisdom gleaned from those experiences shared, so that they can continue to move forward in their life wherever they are. And 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 now I feel like I'm being called to share, and share and share and share my wisdom, my the lessons that I've gleaned from my experiences, to share with the world. And that being my focus, like I feel like I'm ready to do that now, but
Mm-hmm.
I certainly was not ready to do that when I first landed.
Yeah, yeah.
I needed to integrate so much, and now I feel like through all the transformation I went through, that is that those people that are ready to receive this healing light and information I am sharing are going to find me naturally. And because I allow myself to be seen authentically and share my wisdom and voice authentically, then that's powerful. And
Yes.
so I feel like they're going to be finding me. And I noticed that in Chile too. I would show up in a store, I'd be talking to the owner of the store, and within 15 minutes, they wanted to have a session with me. Yeah. And
Amazing.
that that wouldn't happen if I wasn't speaking my truth and being authentic, and just because like that wasn't happening before I went to Chile. But now it's like people are finding me because of this new me that is made a quantum leap out of her
Definitely.
comfort
I
zone.
wanted to jump in and just bring attention to the part that you said, when you are going through that pain of being separated and you had to integrate, and then you use the tools that you already had, like writing or whatever it is that you're using to integrate that. And that is also a really important part, because a lot of people may go through things, but then they don't have the tools to move through it. And then that's when they can go into depression or, like despair or anxiety. And it's the fact that you have been doing the work for a long time, that you've learned how to do it and recognize, okay, this is what's happening. Let me see what I can do. Let me feel into it. Let me release it and use the tools that I have so that I can integrate. That's so beautiful. And I think it warrants some attention, because if people are listening and they've never done the work, then that's when you can feel like, I don't know what else to do. And like, there's the despair, there's like going down that hole of just
Downward
feeling.
spiral. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So very important to have those tools.
Yes. And I would love to share some of those tools with my tribe, because they're invaluable. Invaluable.
You know what's interesting? When I started down my path, down the rabbit hole, I had no idea what it was even. And I felt like, what am I even getting? Like, I'm not getting a cup. I'm not getting like a thing, right? I don't have a book. Like, what am I getting? Like, what is this? And I didn't understand. I didn't understand what the path of going down the rabbit hole was. I didn't understand that it was doing the work, looking within, doing meditations, bringing this stuff up. I had no idea, but I did it anyway, because I had this feeling of like, okay, I think I really feel like this is what's going to get me to what I want. And I didn't even know what I wanted. And I had no idea, but it was so scary for me, because I had found a mentor to help me, and I paid a lot of money, which felt like really like, oh my gosh, like I've never done that to myself. I've spent money, but like it's always like for somebody else or for the family, but not for me. And especially not something that was tangible, that I was like, what is this, right? But I had that feeling of like, okay, I need to do this work and go down that path. And that's where the trust comes, because I really, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks into it thinking, what did I just pay for? Like, what is this? Yet I was starting to see the changes in my life. I was starting to see the changes in me, how I related to others, because it's always about us, not the others. And then I started putting it together like, oh, okay, there's something here. Still don't have no idea what it is. But now at least I'm seeing some type of rewards or like some changes in me that is allowing me to express myself fully or differently than I used to. And I had so much more peace in my life just by doing the work. So how can people get in touch with you?
They can reach me at secretsoundhealing@gmail.com. That's secretsoundhealing@gmail.com. And I also have a link tree that has some videos and meditations, and my book, Transformative Meditation, is also on that link tree for you to see. It's the 21 healing journeys to transform and empower your life in the book, and I share my story, my experience, and how I transform my life through these organic healing journeys. And yeah, so
Amazing.
also on Facebook and my
I'll put all
YouTube
the
channel.
links. I'll put all
Yeah.
the links on the bottom, so that if anybody wants to get in touch with Glenda-Ray, you can just click on it. Amazing, amazing. Any last thoughts or comments you want to share?
Um, when your soul calls you in a profound way, when it calls you beyond any thought that you may be thinking, it's like a pull or a force or an energy that's just calling you. Follow that calling. Follow that calling. And never look back. Follow it, because that is what your soul is destined to experience. There's something in that journey, because it's all about the journey. It's not the destination. It's the journey. It's everything that you're being prepared to go through that journey to receive such incredible gifts that you can bring back into your life, into your world, and share them with the world. Lessons and wisdom, because that is what the world needs. We can only share the wisdom from what we have gleaned from our experiences. We can't just say, oh, if you do this, this will probably happen. Explore that. No, you have to have lived it. That's the medicine. And so it's not even about us as individuals and our experience. It's beyond that. It's medicine for the world. So do it. Just do it. And your universe will bring everything to you, because that's your destiny.
Amazing. Awesome, Glenda-Ray. This was amazing. I love this interview. Thank you for being here at Healing Through You. And oh my goodness, I'm going to put all of the links below so anyone can reach you. And yeah, amazing. We'll have to have you again later on after you have written your book. Yes, you're writing another book, you said?
Yes.
Okay, so awesome. Thank you so much for being here, Glenda-Ray.
Thank you so much, Valeria.
Okay,
An honor.
bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.